Hi, this is Greg in Pensacola, Florida. I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. Tonight is going to be our second video in the Z1 Design Precinct 187 Kickstarter series. And I've printed out a few more buildings and this awesome looking L-train. And I figured we'd go ahead and take a look at what it looks like on the table in front of you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right out up front with the L-train, and then I'm going to move some of these tiles out of the way because I don't have them clicked together, so then we can look at the other buildings here on the table. So we're going to start right off with the star of the show. I got these files and took a look at them and loaded them up on my slicer, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. These things look absolutely freaking incredible. And I've done a few tweets of these cards as I've printed them out and to show them off. And so I just wanted to show you what these look like on here. And this is part of what comes in this Kickstarter. You know, so just like the previous Kickstarter, at the end of this, when you see this terrain, if you haven't jumped on board this yet, down in the show notes will be an email address to John. You just give him an email, give him your information, and he'll let you know how you can be a late pledge on this Kickstarter. So, but I just wanted to show this L-train off because this is absolutely incredible. If you look at the bottom right there, prints in just a few pieces. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think there's 9 pieces on the bottom. So you got your 2 outside and then the braces in the middle and then this one piece right here. This car is plenty of room wide open. And so what I did is I glued everything except the roof. I wanted to keep the roof separate so that I can put it back on and then drop it on the track, so I can actually put figures inside. Oops! So I can actually put figures inside this car and use them for an RPG or whatever game you're using them for on there. So I ended up printing out 2. I thought the first one was so good I had to have 2. And here's the tracks that are right down in front of it. And this thing looks absolutely incredible. So I mean, this will sit right up here on top of these tracks, and these tracks are also able to be raised off the ground. So they have pieces that go up underneath so you can actually elevate it. And when I do my 3rd video in the series, I think I'm going to print some elevations just so you can see what it looks like on the table, because the 3rd video will probably be the last video in this series for this particular Kickstarter run, but it's going to be a culmination of all the pieces that I've done so far, plus I think it's the sea dock on it. There's going to be a sea area where there's going to be some boats, a dock, water, because he did some test prints of some water tiles and stuff like that, and it was looking fantastic. So I am super stoked to put all this together on one table so you can see it. But this right here is the L-train, and everything on this table is this is all eSun brown PLA plus, printed on my MakerGear M2 at 0.2 resolution. So I'll move these off to the side for a second. The next thing I wanted to look at, or wanted to show you, was the construction yard, and that's right here. So this is a multi-piece. I did click a couple pieces of the road up front, and you do see that there's printable dumpsters right here. This is all part of the street accessories. So it's got fire hydrants, mailboxes, and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this road tile off the front, and right there you can see the clips, and all it did is clip right down front, and that's the way all these tiles work right here. But this is 3 levels high. So you have your ground floor, and you got your stairs coming up right here, and the pieces all slide in just like in the other video. They just all slide in, and then you have a, let me pull this one off the top. It's got, just a second. There we go. And then this is what your second level looks like. It has those tall pillars, those I-beams on there. And so that, will just clip right into the top of here using the, like the little, they're like plastic dowels is what they are. And then this last piece, I didn't glue this one on because it just sits right here on top. Once you line up the holes. Okay, so now we're back in business with it. It took me a little bit longer to get that top on because of the way I'm reaching over top of this basketball area and stuff like that. But this is a piece right here. And just for scale reference size, I brought a couple of my Scouts from 40K to put on there so you can kind of get a feel for what they would look like on a piece like this. And this piece can get bigger too. This isn't a set in stone that this is how big that this has to be. I mean, we're getting to the part where you could just keep going down, and that's, I do want to build a second section for this and try and link it together just to make it a little bit bigger. This is a great piece. This looks really good. With Shadow War Armageddon just releasing, I mean, this is nice terrain to get out there. It's got good line of sight blocking. It looks incredible on the table, and your figs sit on there really nice. You know, so this is really a nice piece, and this is the construction yard. The next piece I want to talk about is this one right here. This is the basketball court, and this is pretty darn neat. It's got chain link fence. It's got a basketball goal. It's got your flat tiles in the middle, and it's got openings on each side. So, I mean, you can make this bigger or smaller. You can put it between two of these tenement buildings like that and actually butt it up here. So the only way in and out is through that gate. Just depends what game system you're using, or if you're just doing this for a diorama or something like that. If you're not a member of the Z1 Design group page, I would highly suggest, if you're interested in this terrain or you pick this terrain up, that you join that Facebook group. There's some guys, there's a guy that painted this basketball court up, and it looked absolutely fantastic. He had the three-point line in there and everything. It looked really good. And there's guys in there that are doing modifications of some of the tiles, because I know I saw a corner piece for the fence. I'm just keeping my videos to what comes into Kickstarter. So again, if you like the construction yard, you like that L-train tent, the L-train, and the basketball court, look down in the show notes, give John an email, and he'll hook you up on how to get these files. The next building is the Tenement Building. And again, I clicked a couple of the tiles up front. And so this one is 3 layers. So take a look at the inside of this building. Right here. You've got the stairs, you've got an inner wall with a door, you know, and these doors slide in and out too. So I can open up that front door like that if the door needs to be open. And I can close the back door. And in the back, you know, there's the steps that go out and go down. So, and then there's I'm going to take the roof off. You know, the middle level right here has your fire escape. It's got your stairs that are going up to the next level, and that thing just sits right down on top of the other one. Let's see if I can get this one a little bit better. Yep, which I did. You know, so it sits, and there's your second level. In some of the pictures, this is like 4 levels high. I just did it 3 for the video because, again, I don't want to get so high that I can't reach over a piece of game terrain on there. And really, this thing at 3 stories looks absolutely great. You see how easy it's clicking together. And just like my other video with the firehouse, I mean, the figs, they work on there. You know, the scale is just great. So I want to give you a little bit closer look so you can see. And turn it to its side. You know, when you go to print this building, be ready. There is a lot of print hours that went into this building on here. Those levels are, you know, they print great, but you're going to clock a few hours printing this building. And especially if you need multiple of these buildings, grab a couple rolls of filament and sit back and just let your printer do its thing on there, you know, because they're going to come out looking fantastic, and they're going to be great on the board. You know, you're just going to need some hours. You're going to put some hours in printing this building right here. So, but the payoff, I think, is well worth it. And then in the middle, you see these tiles sliding around. These are all like road tiles, and these are tiles with brick. And this is all off from the road tile file. So you got like 3 or 4 different types. You've got the tiles that have the 1-inch squares on them. So if you're using a grid-based gaming system, you can sit there and print those out instead. So instead of it being, you know, just a flat tile like this, you know, it would actually be gridded out. I think this is a 2x2. I don't know, whatever size this is, 2x2 or 3x3. This might be a 3x3. It'll have the appropriate squares in it. And it gives you options with corners and stuff like that. I just grabbed and printed out a bunch of these, and then I'm going to grab another set and print out a ton of those, because The next video is going to put all this stuff together, so I will probably have triple, if not quadruple, the amount of street tiles that I have right now. So before I get on to one more thing, just to go back, if you're on the fence about buying this, take a look at this L-Train. Show me another KickStarter. Show me another game system. Not a game system, but another where you can download the 3D printable files that you are going to get a train like this. And it's pretty darn rugged too, because I've dropped it 3 times now. And this is held together by those little plastic dowels also on the side. So that you just, a little bit of super glue. You know, you super glue the doors in on there. And again, if you're not part of the Z1 design group, go join that page, because there's guys that are painting these up with the graffiti and everything else on there. I've seen, I think somebody put a heat gun on one of these to make a, like it's battle damage, like it's going to be a wrecked train laying somewhere. So, you know, post-apocalyptic, you know, zombies, zombicide. For me, I look at it for modern, you know, if I can get some modern warfare in there. You know, so it's just, this is a, you can't say enough. And I'm telling you, anybody that's printed it already, I'm sure will say the same thing, that this right here is just one of the stars of this KickStarter. And then we'll give this one more look on the screen time. So just to give you an idea what it looks like all the way around. The Tenement Building, I mean, it's a beast. This is a beast of a building. I probably need 2 more of these, you know, when it's finally said and done. Because I'm kind of looking at this. A friend of mine plays the Night Models game, and they're coming out with a Harry Potter. The Night Models is making a Harry Potter version of the game also. My wife's a pretty big Harry Potter fan, and I think this train will work just fine for that on there. So it has a modern look. It's not too sci-fi, you know, and stuff. So I'm printing out a bunch of this stuff for that. So we'll see how that looks. Little street accessories. There's your dumpster right there. There's fire hydrants, mailboxes, and some other stuff. And lastly, you know, you've got your basketball court right here. So on the basketball court itself, you notice a little bit of white down here. I did take a file just to loosen up the connections a little bit so they weren't so tight in there, because I want to be able to take this in and out on there, because I don't want to store the court with these fence pieces on here, because they are pretty thin. If I had enough, put them in a box. So I mean, the basketball piece will come right out, you know, and then I can put it right back in. So not a big deal. What else do we got? This isn't his only KickStarter. So after the first video, you know, we conversed a few times by email, and he sent me a few of the files from his previous KickStarter, which is the 3D Gaming Accessories KickStarter. And so what I got from him, I got 6 STL file groups, and it was for a brush stand. The first one that I got was a brush stand. So this right here prints in a couple pieces, and then it has a bunch of clips that go on there. And what this is for is to hold your paint brushes. So you can bring them up in here and you can clip them in. And if you're not waving them around like I am on your desk, they sit right in there. And these clips are different sizes. They hold round brushes fine. Some of the triangular brushes that I use these are Army Painter style brushes. A little bit thick for the clips, but that's not a big deal. I just like that it hangs vertical. My main tool brush are these metal ones right down here anyways. Not tool brush, paint brush. So this is really nice. And I guess what this KickStarter was 1 file per month for a year, you know, of gaming accessory related 3D printable items. So that was one. The next thing was the dice tower, which is right here. So this is 3 levels. Comes apart. And you can see inside, it's got kind of an industrial look. And again, this uses those same type of dowels. So I just glue them into the first 2 levels when it goes together. And I had some dice. And this works really good. I mean, it's not, if it can fit right into an urban type scene, you know, so if it's on the table, it's not out of place. And if I can find where I put them, they're right here. John was even great enough to give you stencils to paint this with. So this is for like the red and black hazard striping right here, these stencils, and they go right on the front and they fit in those slots. And then there's a level 1 and a level 2 stencil also. So not only do you get the dice tower, you get the stencils to help you paint it, which I thought was a really sweet touch. It's a small tower. I'm sure you could print more levels to keep going higher if you wanted. You don't really need to. The dice come down, they fall out. I did a little bit of randomizing testing with it, and you know, it flipped the dice around really nice in the page. So I did print this, and I printed the brush holder. And again, if this is something you're interested in, email John, and he can get you in on a late pledge with these files, because there's a bunch of them that he can deliver, I think, pretty immediately, if not the whole Kickstarter is done. I'm not sure. I got the initial set of the files, and that's all that I've gotten, so there may have been more already released, you know, since then. But yeah, I'm just trying to do a little housekeeping in front of me. So if that's something you like, give him an email, let him know you're interested, and he'll tell you how much it costs and send you a link where you can send the money. While I was gone today, I printed these bases out. These are game bases. So you've got your fantasy, modern, and futuristic bases in 3 sizes. That's a 50, a 40, and a 30, I think, on there. I know that's a 50 on there, but just to give you an idea, these are those 3 bases on there. I just came home from work, and these were on the printer done, waiting on me. So I had switched my filament out on there because I ran out of brown here. So I just printed these out in black, and they're bases for 40K is what I'm going to use them for. Maybe a little bit of Age of Sigmar on some of the fantasy ones also. But so just to give you an idea, you've got bases. So you've got the dice tower, the paintbrush rack, the bases. There is a model grip, which I definitely am going to print before the next video, and I'll show it. And it's where that, oops, you can clip in your, you can clip your figure into it so you can paint it, so you're holding it, so you're not touching it with your oily fingers and getting finger oil on it when you're trying to paint. And it may, you know, it gives you a nice handle to hold on to. I know people that paint all the time have corks with blue tack on them and things like that, but this is just another avenue. It's size for different size bases, and you just click them in there, and then you can hold on to it. Another one is a wet palette. If you've never painted with a wet palette, I really enjoy mine. I have mine. Mine is a Masterson wet palette, so it's a little bit larger one, and it's about the size, not quite as a sheet of paper, maybe instead of 8.5 by 11, maybe 6 by 10 or 6 by 9, and it sits on top of a sponge inside of a case. So you can take and you wet that sponge down, and you let the paper sit in water, because this comes with water also, and then you put your paint on it, and it keeps it wet. And then when you're done, you put the lid on it, and I keep mine in the refrigerator, and I can pull that wet palette out 2-3 days later and still use the same paint that's on it without any issues at all. This is a smaller one. This is nice. This can fit in your hobby bag. So it's got a top and bottom piece on there, and then it's going to have, you can either print in a flexible material, or you can, I was thinking maybe use a rubber band or something like that. I don't know. I'll know more when I print it out, because I definitely would like a portable one that I can take with me, because the McMaster one is probably a little bit big for that. And then the last thing I got from them was deck. It was a deck card holder, or card deck holder. And that holds like a stack of cards, and it's kind of in that industrial brick, you know. So I noticed some of the textures, it looks like from the brick, is kind of woven into that pattern. And so it's got your 4 corners. The cards will sit right down in there, but it's open on both sides where you can get in there on those cards. So the ones that you didn't see tonight, you know, tonight, this is the brush. You've got the dice tower, and you had the the three types of bases, the fantasy, sci-fi, and modern or industrial bases on there. You know, so again, if you didn't get in on that Kickstarter, give him an email. He can get you in. I don't think it's super expensive to get in on that. And then, you know, back to the Precinct 187. This is absolutely fantastic terrain. The designs on it are incredible. Anybody that's printing this stuff, you know, already that hasn't knows this on there. But, you know, just want to put it out there. You know, and he got a pretty good response from the first video on maybe some people that might have missed it. And again, I've got more people on the channel since the last time I ran this video. So if you're seeing this for the first time, go check out the first video too. Then check out the show notes, send them an email, and get yourself printing on there. But I am super excited for the Seaport place to come out. I'm going to keep printing on this stuff right here. And we're going to move it out to the big table for the next video. I got my 4x8 table out there, and we're going to see how much of this terrain that we can put on it to finish it off in a, you know, a big hurrah. So I appreciate you guys watching the video. I appreciate all the new subscribers. The subscriber count is going up nice. So I'm picking up new people as we go along. A video seemed to run about 10 days to 2 weeks on there. That's just kind of how it is right now, because there's a lot of printing. There's over 100 hours printing here, and I cranked this out probably in about 10 or 11 days. So the MakerGear hasn't stopped. It just keeps on going. As soon as I hit stop on this video, I'm going to fire it up, and I've got more terrain to print. So if you're new here and you're not subscribe, check out some of the older videos, and in a couple weeks we'll have another one out, and you know, we'll keep on going from there. But thank you and have a good night.